What's going on, Clippers fans? Just doing a very quick 30-minute hang or so to talk about that fantastic win against the Nuggets in Denver. My name is Chuck Mockler, not William Updike, like the name tag says. What an afternoon for Clippers basketball. The Clippers win 109-104 behind an insane game from Norm Powell. James Harden was dishing. Chunk, we absolutely are up. I believe Will Updike is going to come hang in a sec. Again, we're doing a quick stream before the Dodgers game. How's everyone feeling? Yes, what a win, Jimmy G. Zoo was huge. I think Norm gets the game ball is what we're going with. It's William. It's our year, Updike. Will, how are you feeling?
Oh man, incredible. Never doubted it. Is the crazy thing. Never doubted it one time. No, what a game. Jokic career high in threes, going absolutely off like that. The Clippers, who supposedly aren't even supposed to have an offense, able to overcome that one. Just incredible stuff. And the execution down the stretch was a vast improvement from what we saw in game one. So it's nice to see that this team is already kind of figuring stuff out on the fly. You know, the thing we've talked about is like what ultimately is going to sort of determine this team's like seeding where they ultimately end up landing is like how quickly they can kind of figure these things out and are able to adjust. There's not a lot of room for error. There's zero margins for this team. So in game, you got to figure out the things that are working and kind of spam those. And if it isn't working, you got to get it off the court real quick. Today, Terrence was a little bit of a victim of that, but it resulted in a win. So I'm not gonna question it.
Yeah, the Terrence stuff we'll talk about in a bit, in 15 minutes or so before we get out of here. Norm Powell, with his best game as an LA Clipper, absolutely did what we all thought Norm Powell could do, which is score the basketball. He was phenomenal in this one. He was getting foul calls, as he often does. Thank you, Robert Flom. The bank shot late off the glass, the runner, was absolutely demoralizing for the Nuggets. You love to see it from Norm. Zoo, 24 and 15, 39 minutes, excuse me. Something we've been clamoring is a great way to get easy buckets is to play Zoo more minutes. He played 39 tonight. And James Harden, 4 absolutely clutch free throws to close this one out. 23-6 in 16, 7 turnovers, which we won in Denver. I know there were some things the Clippers needed to clean up, but I think this game is the definition of what Clippers games against better opponents are going to be. If the defense and the shooting can kind of get it done in the beginning, you're going to see the other teams just try and lean on us. But if we get, like you said, late game execution like we got with a scoring punch like from Norm Powell, it's going to be a coin toss every time. This was another coin toss game, but the Clippers came through.
Like the amount of like clutch minutes this team is going to play this year, given the relative age. I mean, that's why I think we opted to get a little bit younger along with leaning into the defensive identity. It is going to be a staggering amount. I'm predicting it is going to be a staggering amount of clutch minutes. So yeah, like I said, this is what they have to build upon. This is the type of execution they have to build upon every single time.
Yeah. Oh, Jimmy G giving a shout out to Chris Dunn, very active defender. Chris Dunn, I mean, it was only the second game, 4 for 6. He was in foul trouble a little bit, but he was annoying as hell to play against. He got a key steal in this one that led to a dunk transition late. Yes, a lot of love for Chris Dunn in the chat. We love to see it.
How about Nicolas Batum with no points but 4 boards and 3 assists?
Dude, Nico hit, I think it was the only bucket that KPJ made today. One of his 2 buckets, other than the dunk. Nico hit him with a pass off the elbow, and it was just like, it was perfect. It was exactly that kind of veteran thing you need with a young guy out there who's not good.
I mean, Coffee having like absolutely struggling to produce offensively, still getting extended burns, still trusted late in this game, which is pretty incredible. And again, just speaks to just speaks to his impact on the floor. I think there's something like I feel like every year teams, especially those in championship contention, are like, we're willing to sacrifice whatever. Nobody has an ego on this team. This team might actually, outside of like KPJ and some guys who are kind of looking for a spot, I would say might be one of the lower ego teams in terms of putting up numbers.
I like that idea. That's a great call. Okay, people in the chat are talking about Terrence. This was a rough Terrence game. 0 points, which is absolutely insane. Only 4 field goal attempts. He had 3 boards and assists. He turned down shots. This was a game that makes you wonder what Batum maybe looks like or Amir looks like in the starting lineup.
Batum is not.
I'm
sorry. Just cross that idea from your minds. I think the role that he's in right now is perfect. I think Nico is best when used in short bursts when he can be his most effective.
That's fair.
He's not really like a player who can kind of tread water when he's on the court. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he's out there, he's expected to kind of do a lot given his age and like being this sort of utility glue guy. Unless there's unless there's something that necessitates it, I don't see a move for him into the starting lineup.
Amir then is the one because 2-1-3.
It's been 2 games.
No, I know, but this has been a not coming into the season on Terrence, right? Like they've been saying that he needs to do more. The idea is, you're right. It has been 2 games. There's still, I mean, at least 8 games probably until we see some kind of change. But
there's more working in the starting lineup than not working. If we're being totally honest,
sure,
like, stuff is working. Like we're seeing DJJ's impact. Zoo is finally getting.
Shout out Derek Jones Jr. tonight.
It looks like Zoo is kind of getting into the place where we all hope that he would be able to get to preseason, being able to be used on both ends of the floor. Harden leading this offense. It had some issues. It's still not perfect, but it looks a lot more cohesive. I think even at times than it would look with 2-1-3 in the Sans Harden era. So I'm liking that a lot. And the Terrence thing, I talked about
20 minutes tonight, not trusted. I mean, obviously Norm was playing so good that he wasn't in the closing lineup.
And Norm, I was kind of wrong about Norm in the starting lineup. I wasn't sure defensively. I didn't love the size disadvantage, but against the larger team like the Nuggets, who when we talked about in our game preview, like I don't like that matchup necessarily, especially from a size standpoint. Like Norm is holding his own. I mean, he absolutely deserves to be in that starting lineup. I was a fool for thinking that it would be too much of a hamper defensively. So yeah. Getting some KPJ sucks stuff in the chat. Bring Bones back. Why not let Bones have his damn revenge game this time round?
One thing, real quick about the Terrence thing too. I think what helps Norm in the starting lineup is that Terrence man defense. Offensive is rough right now from Terrence for sure. Not going to pretend that's been good.
Somebody, I think Chunk is actually like putting it pretty well.
Yeah, he's an okay good guy.
He doesn't like. Terrence right now, the knock is that like he doesn't really super excel in any one area. And now some of that is like the fault of the actual player development of the Clippers and him being asked to fill so many roles. I don't think he's like really had an opportunity to like bloom or foster and like any aspect of his game.
I'm not blooming, coach.
So yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. He's a guy who's like pretty good at a lot of stuff. But if one of those things is like below average or inconsistent, low floor, it's going to be rough. It'll be tough at times, and there's definitely going to be some growing pains. And I mean, right now he has the most questions to answer of anyone in the starting lineup, and that is a difficult spot to be in.
Yeah, from a guy who has been the glue guy who they kind of rely on to do these things to now having to answer questions, that is definitely such a transition. We hope he's got a chance to bounce back tomorrow, right? your shot, as Law Murray always talks about, your shot to redeem yourself is going to come back very quickly in the NBA. Just fantastic stuff off the bench from the Clippers today. Chris Dunn was huge. Kai Jones not very good. we got to talk about Kevin Porter Jr. Amir Coffey had a bad game, but he was plus 22.
I wouldn't say Amir Coffey had a bad game. I would say offensively,
He went 0 for 5.
Offensively, he struggled.
Sure. Okay. There was a lot of people in the chat talking about KPJ and KPJ being bad. Someone said that KPJ has been bad this year. I agree that he's been bad. I think this year is doing heavy lifting when it's been 2 games. He does a bunch of spin moves, which I don't understand why he's forcing those.
He is just, dude, the thing that drives me absolutely is insane. And I knew that this was going to be an issue. We talked about this in the preseason. Is like when he is out there, he does not see anyone else on the floor. Like he's the same, like he's trying to be the same player that he was in Houston. I told y'all I didn't think that was going to work. Like I don't see how that could work on this team. I don't see that being a fit. I don't see that being something that's going to be particularly helpful. We have enough ball handlers. Like, he's just going to have to change a lot about his game if he's going to be effective. And I know people were excited about, because of his athleticism, some of the defensive upside. I'm not really seeing that. I'd have to look back through the film, but I got to be honest with you. I'm not really seeing it. Again, it has been 2 games. So if there's any KPJ truthers out there, don't dox me just yet.
Don't put the address out yet. Yeah, there's, again, guy who's been out of the NBA for a minute. It's just not, like, 2 games in, it's not looking super good. He's made 3 shots on 18 attempts or something like that. Not ideal. A lot of attempts.
And I know people have brought out up that, like, some of those lineups, it makes sense that he is a little ball dominant, just given like there aren't a whole lot of scorers out there, which I understand. But like, I mean, like him trying to go ISO on the league, I think is gonna, whatever his current field goal percentage is, I would say it's going to continue at about that clip.
Yeah, and it's only hurting himself. Is the other part, is that it's only hurting what he can maybe bring to this Clippers team. All right, we got about 10 or so minutes left. We discussed player of the game. If you're just getting into the stream, the Clippers beat the Nuggets in Denver for the first time in what feels like 15 years. There's a dog barking. This one feels great. Getting the split on this back-to-back is so great, given the fact that they have to go and play the Warriors tomorrow. Not sure what the legs are going to look like. Genuinely don't really care. And I mean that in a nice way. They got a hard-fought victory in Denver. They played good defense. They overcame Jokic making the most threes he's ever made. If they go out and have good process and they lose tomorrow to the Warriors, I'm bummed, but I'm not mad. You know what I mean? If there's good process, if it's some of the same stuff, there's a lot of good building blocks that we got in the first game, and we saw them kind of come to fruition in this game against the Nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be another great test. Back to back, like our first look at a back to back on the road. I'm curious to see sort of how Ty Lue is able to alter the rotations. Obviously, I thought that he did a better job. I thought he did a better job with Harden's minutes, even with him playing so much in the third and kind of having to bring him back in. I'm just curious to see what it's going to look like tomorrow and what the guys are going to look like tomorrow. Because our big sort of like silver lining or upside, even if like maybe the talent level isn't as high ceiling, is that there is more youth and athleticism on this team. So I'm kind of hoping second night of back-to-back, we can lean on that a little bit to at least keep us in this game.
Yes. Wami's bringing up something that I was looking at on Twitter too. Is it weird that I'm worried about Harden's mileage only 2
It is not. It is not.
No, don't feel weird about that at all, man. He's going to play a lot of minutes. There's going to be a lot. He has so much to do offensively. That's why I was saying, like, it's going to be interesting to see how those minutes are run tomorrow. Like, I think that we're going to get we're going to get a better look at what that's like. At least it is against an overall like older team as well. So yeah. And I'm not, this is not an excuse for Harden, but just expect to see there's going to be possessions where it's like, oh, I wish he jogged back more. Oh, this happened. He's going to be very tired at some points in the game. And it's not weird at all to be worried about this. He played a bunch of minutes for the Clippers last year. It's one of the reasons why he's a great addition to the Clippers, because he plays so much, but managing it is going to be very crucial. And like you said, what tomorrow looks like, probably a lot of Chris Dunn. Yeah, maybe Terrence gets more run with the second unit specifically to be more of an initiator there as a ball handler or something like that. I don't know.
Can you keep him? Can you afford to keep him sub 35 minutes on the second night of a back-to-back?
Yeah, probably not would be my guess. JCC saying Norm spared us. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is a game. It feels fantastic to get this win. We don't know if he's fine. He also is not necessarily finding other teams, other guys. Yes, Sore Losers Gaming, the first time in Zoo's career that he's had back-to-back 20-point games, I believe, which you love to see. We wanted Zoo to get more minutes. He got more minutes, and he turned it into 24, 15, and 4. And played some good defense. You know, Jokic, you're not at 41. You got to hope everyone else shuts down, and that's what happened. Michael Porter Jr. was afraid to shoot. So it was a perfect storm of the Clippers playing good defense and the Nuggets looking a little rough. Russ was horrible in this one. Loved all of his minutes from the Clippers' perspective. So, yeah.
Hard foul, too. That last Russ foul, that was brutal.
Yeah, that felt a little aggressive from Russ.
It was pointed for sure.
Yeah, it felt pointed. Note from Chunk. I will say, though, with James, he is the engine, but because the athleticism is here, he doesn't take on as much. We saw how many assists James Harden had in the first quarter in this one. I think he had 7 assists before he had a single point. He knows that there's guys who can get into space and do what he can direct them to do, which is a great point, I think.
Well, that's why I think, that's why I was saying, talking about the managing of his minutes, because we can't afford to have him out a lot of whole games. So in-game sort of rest management it's going to be absolutely paramount, because we know that James can start seasons hot, and it can wear down on him. The rigors of a season can wear down on him. And with him being so crucial to this team, we have to figure out a way to make things as easy on him as possible, because, if this team is going to, avoid the play-in, hell, maybe even to make the play-in, he's going to have to play. Like, there's no way they can do it if he plays less than 55 games,
something like that. Yeah, because we don't know Kawhi's status, of course. They think when he comes back, he'll be healthy and good to go, but we'll see. It'll be interesting. I think that about wraps it up. I'm feeling great after this win. It's on to the Warriors. Shout out Norm Powell. James Harden made things happen. Zubac was great. Chris Dunn had a great game. A lot of good stuff. The blueprint for how Clippers can get victories against teams like the Nuggets was today. Start off hot, play good.
Are we going to have to start making it the Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Norman Powell player of the game?
Or Ivica Zubac?
That's fair.
Because I think that's a big thing too.
Basically, you can't pick a starter unless you think Terrence is going to have it, or Derrick Jones Jr., which I did pick in our game preview.
There we go. If you're new to our show, we are called Clips and Dip. I'm Chuck Mockler. That's William Updike. Adam Austin's also on the show, but he's working right now, and Will's about to be on the radio with him, I believe. We're coming at you a couple times a week. Find us on YouTube over here at youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast and on Twitter @ClippersPod. Let's go Clippers. Hell of a win. Let's hope they can split against the Warriors